Hello everyone. In this session of Rdbms, we will cover domain, tuples, attributes, degree, cardinality, primary key, foreign key, candidate key, and alternate key. So let's start. Okay, now understand the relational database model. As the name suggests, a relational database, that means the database components are related to each other. We can understand it with the help of this concept in which I have taken two tables. One is department table and one is EMP table. And these two tables are related to each other through a key field called department ID. As you can see, that department ID is common to both of the tables, and this is acting as a bridge. And based on this bridge, we actually retrieve the summarized information from both the tables. There's one thing which is very, very important to note, that one field should be common, and that field should act as a primary key in one table and foreign key in another table. We'll be talking about the primary key and foreign key concept later on, right? Right now, you just understand that there's a field which is common to both of the tables, and this field will be used to retrieve summarized information from both the tables. And that is why we say it's a relational database, because all the components, they are related to each other. Right now, we have got the EMP table and department table, and both the tables are related to each other through a key field or department ID. Now, moving on to the next one, that is relational database terminology. And in this, we'll be talking about the various terms of the relational database, like a relational. We'll be talking about the domain, tuples, degree, attribute, cardinality. Let's understand all these terms one by one. Domain. It's a pool of values from which the values appearing in a given column are drawn. For example, the domain of the department ID in EMP table is 5001, 5002, 5003. And you can also see here that we have got, the department ID here. All these values are basically been drawn from, this pool of value, that is 5002, 5001 to 5003. Similarly, in EMP ID, the domain is 1001 to 1006. Similarly, in the various fields, EMP ID, EMP name, EMP cell, date of birth, the values which are basically been drawn are this, and this. Next is tuple. A tuple represents a row in a relation. Each tuple contains a set of attribute values that describes a particular column. For example, here in this case, we have got EMP ID. This is EMP name, this is EMP cell, this is date of birth, and this is a department ID. All together, this becomes a tuple, right? These are generally a raw facts and figures, and when you club them, that becomes records or information. In terms of relational database, this is known as a tuple. In this EMP table, we have got, these many tuples, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are the tuples within the EMP table, and these are the attributes in EMP table. Now, attribute. An attribute is a field or a column in a relation. We have already seen that we have got EMP ID, EMP name, EMP cell, EMP date of birth, and department ID. These are attributes or field or column in a relation. Now, next is degree. A degree is nothing but the total number of attributes in a relation. For example, in EMP table, we have got 5 attributes. The degree of EMP table is 5. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So total number of attributes are 5. So the degree is 5. Cardinality is the number of tuples or rows or records in a relation, right? So if you see here in EMP table, we have got 6 rows. So the cardinality is 6. We have got 5 fields or attributes, so degree is 5. The next one is primary key. Primary key is a key attribute which uniquely identifies tuples in a relation. It cannot contain duplicate values or null values. For example, in EMP table, we have got EMP ID. Okay, and all these tuples are basically been identified by the employee ID. Just like in case of student table, we have got admission number through which we identify a student. The school identifies any student with the admission number within a class, a student is identified through its roll number. Okay, so different way of identifications are there. There's one thing which is very, very important to note, that any field which is set as a primary key cannot contain the duplicate values as well as the null values. Like, as you can clearly see here in EMP ID, no two employees can have the same EMP ID, and that's why this field must be containing the unique values. One more thing, if anyone who is an employee of an organization must be having the EMP ID, so this EMP ID field cannot left blank or cannot contain null. The next one is foreign key. It's a non-key attribute whose values are dependent on a field of another table, which is acting as a primary key in that table. If you remember, in department table, we have got department ID and department name. And the department ID was working as a or set as a primary key, right? Over there, the department IDs were unique because no two department can have the same department IDs. But here, multiple employees can have the same department IDs. So here, the duplicates are allowed. But all the field, all the informations, all the values which are set for the department ID, they must exist in the department tables, department ID field, because these values are drawn from there. Okay. And if you try to enter any other value in the department ID of EMP table, it should discard if this field is set as a foreign key. Okay. So once you set this field as a foreign key, this field will not accept any other value other than the values which are there in the department table. The next one is candidate keys. In any of the table, multiple fields, can contain or can be eligible to become a primary key. Like in this table, EMP, we have got EMP ID and mobile number. These two fields are containing unique values, right? So these two fields are eligible to become the primary key. But out of these two, one field will be chosen as a primary key, right? Another field which is eligible to become a primary key but not acting as a primary key will become alternate key. So alternate key, all the attributes which are eligible to become a primary key but not acting as a primary key are alternate to the primary key, and hence they are known as alternate keys. Now let's understand those concepts which I've studied practically. For that, what all you need to do is need to go to MySQL. Just click on that. It will show you the interface for MySQL. You need to specify the password. And this is MySQL prompt. If you want to know how many databases this system has got, you can simply make use of a command called show databases. It will show you all the databases available in the systems. So most recently, we have created a database called DB40. So I'll simply make use of that, use DB40, or otherwise, if you want to create a new database, you can simply create a new database, create database, let's say DB42. Press semicolon and press enter key. Semicolon and enter key is the way how you execute any SQL statement. So a new database DB40 will be created for you. And if you if you see here, we had a DB41, the last database which I created for that. And right now, if I click if I execute show databases, it will show me DB42 as well. There's a newest database which I have created here. Now, I just want to use this database. For that, we have got a command called use database name. So use DB42. It will simply let you inside the database called DB42. And if you want to know exactly that whether I'm working within the DB42 or not, or if you do not know, under which database you're working, you can simply make use of a command called select database. It will show you in which database you're currently working with. So right now it's DB42. Now I want to create, two tables, EMP table and department table. So let's create department table first. So create table command is there for that. Create table DEPT. opening bracket for that, DPT ID end of, suppose I just want to restrict this department ID for maximum of 5 digits, department name for varchar of 20. I want to set this department ID as a primary key. So primary key, that's about how you set any field as a primary key. So primary key, which field are you talking about? DPT. So this department ID will be set as a primary key. If there's no syntactical error, it will simply say query OK. And now this department table has been created with department ID set as a primary key. Now moving on to another table called EMP. So I'll create another table, create table EMP. This EMP table has got EMP ID, end of 5 again, right? EMP name, varchar of 20, EMP cell, this is of decimal type, decimal of 10,2. Then we have got EMP date of birth, that is of date type. Then we have got department ID is of integer type, and the maximum limit has been set as 5 digits. Now I want to set primary key as well for this particular table, and I want to set EMP ID as a primary key. So primary key of which field? On which field you want to set? I'm saying EMP ID. I want to set this field as a primary key. And I want this field to be set as a foreign key. Department ID, I want this field to be set as a primary key. So as we have already discussed, that this field will refer for its values to the department table of department, department ID field of department table. So we have got a keyword called references. So this department ID field of EMP table will refer to department table's department ID. So wherever you try to enter, the values for the department ID field of EMP table, it will always refer to department table's department ID, whether this particular value actually exists there or not. And if it exists, it will try to, it will simply accept the value. And if it is not there, it will simply discard that, current information which you are trying to enter. We'll show you practically. Execute it. That means this command has got no problem. We have got now 2 tables, EMP table and department table. Now we need to insert information into that. Okay, so I have already created 2, use some information to insert into these 2 tables. So first of all, I'll simply insert information into department table. You can simply make use of this concept like that. You can simply write all the commands in Notepad, okay, copy it and paste it here. So 4 rows I want to insert into department table, and you can see it's saying 1 row inserted. Okay, insert into department, insert into table name, values, and the values in a sequence of the fields. Like we have got 2 fields in department table. So this is department ID and this is department name. And similarly, it will go for rest of the commands. So 4 values have been inserted. If you want to see them, you can see them, or you can display them using select command. Select star means all the fields from department table. No condition has been specified, means I'm talking about all the rows, right? Star means all the fields, and no condition means all the rows which are available in the department table. Semicolon and enter key is to execute this. So select is going to select all the fields from department table without any condition. So all the rows and all the fields will be picked up and displayed here. You can see. Similarly, I have created some rows for the EMP table also. I'll simply copy them and paste it here. So, these many rows will be created for EMP table as well. Again, I'll say select star from EMP. Instead of department, I'll say EMP. So it will show me this. So we've got two tables now, EMP and department. Now, I'll copy one, this from here. Understand it properly, what exactly I'm trying to do. I have used this one. Okay. Now we have got 6 rows containing EMP ID from 101, 1001 to 1006. If I try to insert one more row with the same EMP ID 1006, because EMP ID is set as a primary key, so it should discard this information. It should not let this information to be entered into the table, and that is why we say it's a primary key. Key, as I have already talked about, that key is a constraint or a restriction, right? Which restrict the user to enter the invalid value. In terms of primary key, no duplicate values are allowed. So here I'm trying to enter the duplicate values for the next row, that is the 7th row, and an EMP ID is specified as a duplicate values. These values can be same, that is okay, but this department EMP ID should be different. But if I keep it same, what exactly happens? Let's see. You can clearly see it will simply say error, duplicate entry 10006 for the key primary. Now if I change it, if I say 10007, okay, I can keep this information same, maybe a little bit change can be there. So if I say suppose 8, and I can keep it like 10. Okay, this could be like 04, or let's say 2. I can see it will simply accept it. Now after that, if I say select star from EMP, it will give you one more entry with the same name Ananya, but with rest of the other information. Other information will be different. The main thing is that it has got a different EMP ID. It will accept it, right? Now understand in terms of department table. Now if I again display the department table, you can see we have got these many rows, right? Now if I try to insert information into EMP table with the different EMP ID, now I just do it with the 8th one. This is completely fine. But if I try to specify the department ID, because this value is going to be checked within the department table, and department table has got only 4 department IDs, 50001 to 5004. And if I try to specify any other value other than these 4, it should discard that. That's a kind of restriction we have set for the department ID of EMP table, because this field is acting as a foreign key. And any field which is set as a foreign key will always refer for its values to the main table, which is the department table. Okay. And within this table, we have got a field called department ID, which is common. And this field is acting as a primary key there. So this value, which is the department ID of EMP table, will go to the department table's department ID and check whether this particular value is existing there or not. If it is not, it will discard that. If it is there, it will accept it. Right now, this value is not there in the department table, so it should discard it. Let's see. You can see here that that error cannot add or update a child row. A foreign key constraint fails. Foreign key constraint fails. Why? Because the department ID, is not matching with the field which is there acting as a primary key in department table. Now, if I make some change here, if I say 5002, which is already there, now it will accept it. And now if I say select star from EMP, it will simply give you the concept like this. I hope this part is clear to all of you. Thank you very much for watching.